This is a pygmy shrew. From the end of her nose, from to the tip of her tail, she is only 3 inches long. If you might wear a pygmy shrew, you feel mighty small, but even some toadstools would be taller than you. If you happen to meet an elephant, you'd probably think you were the smallest thing in the universe. Whoa. Compared to an elephant, the largest animal, she looks very small indeed. But pygmy shrew, you're not so small compared to a ladybug. Ladybugs are a kind of beetle, and beetles are just one of the many kinds of insects. Pygmy shrews are insect eaters, but they prefer to leave ladybugs alone. They know that ladybugs have a bitter taste. If you were a ladybug, you'd certainly think you were awful small. For you, a leaf floating in a tiny puddle would be like a boat in a lake. But ladybug, you're not so small. All compared to the tiny creatures that live in those water drops on your leaf boat. In this water drop, there are 2 kinds of one-celled animals known as protozoa cells, are made of tiny building blocks and that make up living things. Most plants and animals, even smaller ones, are made of tiny millions of cells. Our own bodies are made of trillions of cells. Here's a closer look at that protozoa. The ones that look like slippers with whiskers are paramecia. Those ones that look like blobs are amoebas. Amoebas. The whiskers on the paramecia are called cilia. They are like paddles which propel the paramecia through the water. I don't know what that says.
Amoeba
moves slowly about by pushing out a part of its body, then flowing into that expanded part. Because of this, amoebas are always changing shape. Paramecia and amoebas are so small that you can barely see them without a microscope. What in the world? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's some bacteria.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're gonna eat this paramecia.
You think?
Yeah. Yes, a tiny paramecia would be like a giant sea monster. Compared to bacteria, there are many kinds of bacteria. Some cause disease, but most are harmless to people. In fact, many are useful to us because they live inside our bodies and help digest our food. Like protozoa, bacteria are made up of just one cell, but bacteria cell is smaller and simpler. Most bacteria are so small that thousands of them could not fit on the dot of an eye. Yeah. But even the bacteria are made of smaller things called molecules. Wait, not so fast. Before we look at molecules, we have to realize how incredibly and extremely tiny they are. If we just took one part of this bacteria, made it this size, a molecule inside it would still just be just a speck. Living things and most of the other creatures in our world are made of molecules. There are many kinds of molecules, and some are much bigger than others. To see even the biggest one, scientists must use a very powerful, special kind of microscope. Since all living things contain water, a water molecule is the very tiniest particle of water is one of the many kinds of molecules we would find in this bacterium. If we picked out just one water molecule and made it bigger, it might look something like this. A water molecule is one of the smallest molecules. It's so tiny. Even in this microscope, bacteria would be many thousands of them. But what about those 3,000 that are made up in the water molecule? They're atoms. All molecules are made of atoms. There are about 100 kinds of atoms, and they combine it in different ways to make molecules. When two hydrogen atoms combine with a larger oxygen atom, they make a water molecule like this. But even those tiny atoms are made up of smaller things. Tiny particles called electrons whirl around within the atom at about the speed of light. So they would appear as a blur, like a spinning fan blade. Electrons form the cloudy shells of the atoms. The dot in the center is the nucleus, shown much bigger than it would really be. Like our universe, atoms are mostly empty space, but if an atom were the size of a house, its nucleus would be tinier than a grain of sand. That's weird, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here's a closer look at the nucleus of the oxygen atom. Now you can see it's made of even tinier particles. They're called protons and neutrons. The numbers of protons determines of the kind of atom. The nucleus of an oxygen atom has 8 protons and it also has 8 neutrons. Neutrons help bond an atom's nucleus together. kinds of neutrons are made still tinier particles called the quarks, with 3 quarks making up each proton and neutron. Quarks are so amazingly tiny that scientists cannot measure their exact weight, but with special machines they can figure out their weight. Is a quark then the lightest particle there is? No, it's not even close. Even thought to their size is too small to measure. A quark is known to be more than 600 times heavier than an electron. Electron. That's really tiny, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. These particles look very huge.
Do they?
And this neutron or electron
Mm-hmm.
has 1 quark tucking out.
Mm.
Right?
Is that the end?
No.
Oh.
Electrons, protons, neutrons, and quarks were amazing sort of tiny particles. Everything that people make is made of atoms. Every car and every clock, everything and every shoe, every boat and every ball. Everything in nature is made of atoms. Every grain of sand, every drop of water, every dream, every flower, every person, animal, meadow, and mountain. Even our whole world itself is made of atoms. So is every planet, and every star, every comet, every asteroid, every moon, and every meteor. In fact, every epical thing in the universe is made of atoms. Trillions and more trillions and countless more trillions of atoms. How many atoms do you suppose it took to make you, pygmy shrew? Millions.
Thank you for reading that book.
You're welcome.